Do you play games with your kids? What games do you play? I would really like to know because I am going to show you kind of a kids game today, but this game is for all ages and it's called Zaberias and it comes like this. You have one little board here that sits on top of this little cardboard piece. So this is the way the game comes. And you open it up and you have a bunch of tokens in here, and I will of course show you more about this in a little bit. Down here you have some dice. That's a cool little thing here that fits on here, and then you just pop them out and you pop them back in again. And every player will get one of these boards. So we have the yellow player, then we have a blue player, a red player and a green player, and so on. The setup takes basically no time at all. It goes really fast. And the game is about you venturing out into this world called Zaberias, trying to lead your armies to victory. So I'm going to show you the setup of this game. I'm going to give you an overview of the gameplay and show how you can play the game. So once you have watched this video, well, you are ready to send your troops into battle. So this here is the setup of the game. If you are 4 players. If we would have been 2 players, we would only have 2 boards facing each other. 3 players, we would have 2 boards next to each other and the third one in the center of the 2. But this is the setup of 4 players. And you can see that we have all of the stars lining up in the center of the map. In this way, all of the roads will connect neatly. In a 3-player game, when you have one board in the center of the 2, it won't line up perfectly, but it will be close enough. Next, we need to pop out the little wooden building from our player board here. As you can see, we have different buildings out on this, but we always start with the wooden ones. And then we move up to metal and gold. We take our little building and we place it in the right corner of our map, just where the city is. We simply take our building and we put it in the little gap. As you can see on the board, we have more buildings, we have our armies in the center, but we also have gold coins down here. There are 6 coins here, but the players only start with 5. As the game goes on, we will build more buildings, we will get our armies out on the map, and we will do some battle. To determine who is the first player, we need to roll a die. Whoever gets the highest number is the first player, and then the other player takes turn in clockwise order. That was the setup of the game. It really takes no time at all. I mean, you just pop this lid off, place it out in the right placement on the board, put your little building down here in the corner, and you are ready to start playing. Now, the game is about you being a tribe leader in the world of Zaberias. You portray either as the orcs, the guardians, the undead, or the humans. And for some reason there has become war in this land after ages of peace. And now it's up to you to venture out in this world and try to defeat your enemies. You will do this by sending out your troops. You will also be able to build better buildings. And the player that is the last player standing will win the game. But before we take a look at the gameplay itself, we need to take a little bit of look at the buildings, but also our units. So this is the way the player board looks. And this is where you have your units, buildings and coins, but also your die. If we look at the coins first, we can see that now they are faced up. If we ever expend a coin, meaning that we use it, we simply turn the coin around. You can never make more than 6 coins. And as I told you, at the start of the game, you only start with 5. And out here on the side, you can see your buildings. Now we have already placed one building during setup, but we have 5 more buildings to place out. We always start by building wood, then metal and gold. Meaning that you can't build a wood building and then go directly to gold. You need to upgrade to metal first. On these buildings we can see a bunch of information. On the top we can see some die. These are the amount of die that you roll to defend your cities. In the middle we can see some coins. These are the amount of coins it costs to build the buildings, but also the amount of coins you get in income during the beginning of your turn. And at the bottom we can see the grade of your building. Down here we can see it is wood, here we have metal, and lastly up here we have gold. These 3 different grades determines which type of units you can create. Wood cities can only create wood units, metal cities can only create metal and wood, and gold can create all 3. So that was the buildings. Now let's take a look at the units. If we take a look at the archer here, for example, we can see that this is a wood building. It is an archer, and up here you can see the cost of creating this unit. And if we look at the portrait here itself, we can see a little figure how it looks. The background color represents which tribe it belongs to. In the top left corner we can see our base muscle value, but also how many die we can roll in battle. Down here we can see the range, and here we can see how many steps this unit can move. Some of the units, like this one up here, also have a special ability. In this case here you can give 1 extra die to all of his units, but also himself. But as you can see, he will cost you a lot more money, and he needs to have a gold city. If you have that, you can recruit this unit. So what can you actually do during your turn? Well, you can of course move on the map, you can attack enemies, you can attack cities, and you can get new buildings and new units out on the map. If you have the right buildings, remember? So in this case here, for example, I have a wooden city, meaning that I can recruit a wooden little unit down here. If I have the money, but I do. So I would spend the coins needed down here to recruit the hero that I would like to recruit. In this case, an archer. These goes out on the map. When you create a unit, they're always placed in your first city. And if there's already a unit in the city, well, you can't place a new unit. Not even if the unit that are in the city is flying. You need to move that unit out, and then you can place your unit in the city. And you can move her as soon as you have put her on the map, because your turn ends, well, pretty much when you say it ends, or you can't do anything else. So usually when you have moved your units around or attacked or spent the money that you want to spend, that is when your turn ends. But how can she move on the map? To know how many steps your character can move, we need to look at the bottom left of their little token. In this case, 3 steps. If we look on the map, we will see some squares. Each square represents 1 step. And your character can move on the path, they can move among the trees and grass. But they cannot move over water, if they do not have an ability saying that they can. When you move your little character, they need to move in straight lines, meaning that they can't do diagonal movement, unless there is a road going in a diagonal path. In that case, they can go diagonal. But like in this case over here, we do not have anything connecting the 2 squares, meaning that we cannot move diagonal in that case. When you have done all of the steps on your character, you need to stop. But you can also stop before you have used all the steps, if you like to. During your turn, you can move as many units as you would like to, but you need to fulfill their full movement, meaning that once they have stopped, they have stopped. So you can't move just 2 steps, attack, and then move again. You need to make the full movement, and then you do another action. Besides moving, you can also attack your enemies, if you are within range. In this case here, we have a range of 4, meaning that this unit have 1, 2 squares away from its enemy. So it is well within range. Now we need to add up how many die we get to roll. We can see here that this unit gets to roll 2 die, but it has a base strength of 1. This means that if we roll this result here, for example, we would get a total attack value of 1 plus 1 plus 1, giving us a total of 3. But the enemy unit also gets to defend themselves. Here we also need to look at their base muscle value and how many die they get to roll. In this case, 1. So if they roll their die and they get this result here, we would take that plus this, meaning 3 plus 2, giving them a total defense value of 5. So we did not manage to attack and hit our enemy. But if we did manage to hit our enemy, the other player would need to remove their unit. When you battle out on the map, you can attack with several units at once. But each unit can only attack one enemy at a time. So be sure to use your attacks when they really do matter. This means that you could create an ambush and use several of your units to attack one enemy unit. In this way, you get to use all of the combined strengths of your units when you are attacking your enemy. So in this case here, you would get to roll 2 dice for this unit, 2 die for this unit, and 2 die for this unit. Add up that value, but also the base strength, to attack this mighty dragon. But of course, your enemy units also get to defend themselves, and they get to take their base muscle strength and the die to add up against your attack. And if the enemy unit managed to get a higher result than your attack result, they will win, and all of your units that was a part of the ambush will be moved away from the board and become eliminated. If you have a unit that is being attacked by an enemy unit, his friends can actually help to defense if they are within range. So here we have one unit and he have 2 friends within range, meaning that they can help him getting more defense. But they can only use their muscle power to add up to the defense. So in this case here, this lizard will add 1 to his defense. But the little turtle here will not add up anything, as their muscle power is 0. And it does not matter if you move first and attack first, or if you attack first and then move. You can do that any way you would like to, meaning that you could sneak up on an enemy, attack, but then you would be stuck there. Or you could attack and then run away from an enemy instead, and it's all up to you, and this is a big part of the strategy in this game. And if there's ever a tie in the battle, well, the attacker needs to decide if they want to attack again or if they want to stop attacking and end the battle. Out on the board, you will find castles. These are considered to be vacant cities, if there's not already a city there, that is. In this case here, there's no city. So if you have a unit on that city, well, you can pay the amount needed to build a city there. The wooden little cities here, they are free. So even though there is a coin on them, they are considered to be free, but they will still give you 1 income during your turn. So to build a city, in this case, we build it for free. Now remember that you need to build a wooden city before you start building metal or even gold. So in this case, we simply put our wooden building and we pay nothing. Next time, if we want to upgrade them, we put a metal building there, but then we would need to pay the amount stated on the city. You can of course also take over other players' cities. To do this, it is considered to do an attack and can only be done once per turn. Depending on which city you are attacking, they will use different amount of die to defend themselves. And if there is an enemy unit inside of the city, we will be using their defense value as well. Meaning that in this case, the dragon will attack the enemy building, but also the enemy unit. If we do not manage to defeat them, we only remove our unit if there is a unit inside the city with a range to reach your unit. Otherwise, you are safe. If you manage to win this battle, we remove the city and the unit from the city, and now this city becomes vacant. But you have not taken over the city yet. To take over a vacant city, you simply move your unit to the city spot. But you need to use 1 attack action, meaning that this is all that this unit can do during this turn. And then you get to put up 1 wooden building in their spot. But if you enter an unoccupied enemy city, meaning a city that does not have any units in it, you only attack the city itself, and it only gets to defend itself with its die. If you manage to defeat the city, well then you get to put up one of your wooden structures in that city. But if you do not manage to defeat the city's defense, well then you need to remove your unit from the board. You can also use a ranged unit to attack a city, as long as you are within range. In that case, you simply try to defeat the city's defense. And if you do not manage to do that, the city will not hit you back, as well it can only defend itself. But you do not need to take over an enemy's building. You can simply just put a unit into their city and block them from doing new units. But at the start of your enemy's turn, the building itself will attack you. But they can of course only use the die that they have available. Besides the cities and the enemies and battles and everything else going out on the map, we also have some magical places out on the map itself. The first magical place I'm gonna show you is the portals. If you move any of your units down in a portal, they get to pop out from another portal on the board. This is considered to be one step. But if another unit is standing on the portal itself, you cannot come out from that portal. It needs to be free from other units. Besides the portals, we also have 4 power stars. And these will give your units 1 extra muscle. So when one of your units stands on these stars, they will get an extra muscle. In this case going from 5 to 6. But this extra muscle power will only last as long as they're standing on the stars. So once they move away from it, well, they are down to their basic value again. Lastly, we have gold mines. And if you have a unit standing on a gold mine, even if the gold mine does not belong to your tribe, you will get gold. And you will get 1 gold per gold mine that you are controlling at the start of your turn. And remember, you get gold by flipping these coins over. And that is how you play Zaberias. A player takes their turn to the fullest, moving their units, attacking other units, going out to the magical places to get golds. They can build buildings. There are a lot of different things for the players to do in this game. Once a player have taken their turn and they feel like they are done and ready, the turn moves over to the player on the left, and then they do their turn as well. Again, attacking and doing everything they feel like they want to do, and that's the way the game moves on. Until we have one last standing winner out on the board. And then that player will be the eternal winner for all times to come. This is a fun, fast, easy to learn kids game. Or is it even a kids game? I don't know. It says 6 years to infinity on the box, and I would agree with that, because depending on who you are playing against, this game will have many different levels of difficulties. If we have a group of kids sitting down playing this game, it will of course be a little bit easier. But if you are playing against other adults and kids, the game will be harder, because there is a lot of strategy and tactical movements in this game. Which is just brilliant for the kids, because here they will learn how to plan ahead, how to think in a strategic way, but also to count, because they need to figure out how much damage their units can do before the other enemy units can defend themselves. Also moving around the board and making sure that you are actually using your path in the right way to get where you want to. This is a good game for kids if they want to get into more strategic board game, and I think that this game will open doors for kids that did not know that they liked board games, as this is an easy to learn but still quite challenging game. The artwork in this game is quite light and easygoing, as it should be, because it is a kids game. So there's no blood in here, there's no deep dark artwork, but even though it is still quite cool for the kids. I mean, they still have weapons here, there's still cool armor on the characters, and they still look quite mean, but in a childish way. which I think is quite cool because this can be played by, like I told you, older kids like 9, 10, 11 years old, but also younger ones that are 6, 7 that still will look at this and think it will look quite cool. And I quite like the solution here with the boxes, so to say, because this is really not a box, it's just a cardboard plate. But they do not take any place at all in the shelf. I mean, they are quite thin. And you have everything you need in front of you. I mean, everything is right here. And they are stuck quite good to the board. They do not move around. Because when you play with kids, they might push the whole board and everything just goes everywhere. So this is quite a neat solution. And when you pack it up, you simply just put it all in here, put on the little lid, and it's done. And the setup, like I said at the start, takes basically no time at all. I mean, you simply open the little lid and put out a building, and then you're ready to start playing. This is a cool solution. There you have it, my friends. That was how you played Zaberias. This is a cool little kids game, or also for adults, actually. I mean, maybe I wouldn't pick this up with my gaming buddies, but with a family evening, you have some kids over, you have the other adult friends there, sit down with the table. I think that this can work quite well, actually, because it's easy to learn, it's fast to start playing, it does not take hours to set up, and you are starting in no time. Depending on how good players are around the table, this game can take anywhere from, 20 minutes to hours, actually. It all depends on how and who you are playing with. But I think there are a lot of cool little mechanics in this game, the way you pay to get troops out, the way you pay to build buildings, also the little mechanic where you actually take a little building and put them out on the map. It's neatly done, it's quite easy, it's simple, it's cool little artwork. And if you want to get your kids into a little bit more heavier, more bigger games, I think that this game is a good gateway to get them in there. And it's also just a nice game to pick up on a family evening and have a good time around the table. There will be links down in the description, just as usual, if you want to know more about this cool little game here. If you want to put down a comment about the game, if you want to tell me something about the video, well, please do that in the comments. If you like the video, give me a little thumbs up there. It really means a lot in my little board gaming heart. But most importantly, please keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace.